Welcome back into the channel and welcome into my official 2025 playoff predictions. Today, we're going to go through every single playoff game in my bracket. We're going to spend a little bit more time on the wild card games because we already know what those exact matchups are. But by the end of this video, I will, of course, give you guys my Super Bowl winner. I want to start by saying, one, thank you to all the people who have supported the channel in the last year. Channel's about a year old now, and we're over 400 subscribers in that 1 year. I appreciate your guys' support. And two, if you're a new viewer watching this channel and you love the NFL, I suggest you hit that subscribe button because we're going to be doing instant reactions every single day after all the playoff games. Give you guys podcasts, more prediction videos like this, and in the offseason, mock drafts, how I would fix this team, tier list will still all continue. So if you love football, hit that sub button. Enough yapping. Let's get into my playoff predictions. All right, so we're starting off, of course, with the Rams versus Panthers game. The score is going to be question marks right now. What I'm going to do is talk to you about these teams and where they ranked in terms of regular season, give you each team's path to victory, and then give you my official prediction. Now, the Panthers are 10.5-point dogs at home, which may seem like a crazy number, and I get it, they're an 8-9 team, but 10.5 is still a crazy number. But when you dive into the season stats, I think it makes a little bit more sense. The Rams were the best offense in football this year in terms of yards per game and points per game. They averaged 30.5 points per game this year. Whereas the Panthers, they had the 27th ranked offense in terms of yards per game and averaged just 18.3 points per game. The Panthers did certainly have some high highs this year, but they also had some low lows. Defensively, these guys are pretty similar. The Rams were 17th ranked. The Panthers were 16th ranked in terms of yards allowed per game. But there is an interesting wrinkle in this game. The Panthers did beat the Rams earlier this season when these two teams faced off 31-28. It is a David versus Goliath game, but people telling you that there's just no way for the Panthers to win, we already saw it this year. And I want to talk about that Panthers path to victory because I think the Rams path is pretty simple, right? We'll just quickly run through that. Be the dominant offense that you are. You have way more firepower than the Panthers. Have your defensive pass rushers get to Bryce Young and disrupt and hold the run game where it is, and then you should win. On pure talent, if you play your best ball, you should win the football game if you were the Los Angeles Rams. The Panthers' path to victory, a little bit more complex, but it is possible. For starters, the run game has to be there. The run game was not there versus Tampa last week in a game that they absolutely could have used it. A game that they got a little bit hosed by the refs, if we're being honest, but the run game has to be there. Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard have to sustain good runs, have to get Bryce Young into second and third and manageable, and have to sustain drives. If the Panthers are going to win this game, it's going to be because they kept Matthew Stafford on the bench. Now, number two, big plays to Tetairoa McMillan, Xavier Legette, and Jalen Coker. The weakness of the Los Angeles Rams, because every team in this playoff field is flawed, is their secondary. They have small defensive backs, and the Panthers have big wide receivers, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" guys. Ted, Coker, these are big body wide receivers that the Panthers can depend on. Bryce has to be willing to take the deep shots. I've seen in certain games this year, he's been kind of unwilling. You have to be able to let it loose against this Rams team, but that is something. And win the turnover battle. Just like you did in the game that you played earlier this year, force Matthew Stafford into some mistakes. A lot has to happen, but there is a Panthers path to victory. Now, all that being said, my official prediction, I'm picking the Los Angeles Rams to win this game 28-19. The 10.5 point spread a little bit too juicy for me, and I'm not giving the Panthers a 0% chance to win this game, but like I mentioned, I think the Rams' offensive firepower is just too much for the Carolina Panthers to keep pace with. You have Stafford and McVay in the playoffs, a legit run game with Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, a two-dimensional offense, not something that a lot of NFL teams in the playoffs this year can say that they have. You get Devontae Adams back. You already have a top 3 wide receiver in Puka Nacua. Tons of good tight ends. The Rams, their firepower is ultimately too much, and they advance to the divisional round. On Saturday night, we have an NFC North divisional battle in the wild card weekend as the Green Bay Packers travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. The line for this game is a little bit mixed. On some spots, you could see Bears -1.5. On other spots, you could see Packers -1.5. Basically a pick'em level game, which I think is fair, to be honest. The Packers this year had the 14th ranked offense in the NFL in terms of yards per game. The Chicago Bears had the 6th ranked, right? The Packers scored 23 points per game, the Bears 25.9. Defensively, the Packers were the 12th ranked defense, but most of that was with Micah Parsons versus the Chicago Bears, who in terms of yards allowed per game were the 29th ranked defense in football. They did have the most turnovers forced in football, so it's kind of like a which defense are you going to get? The Bears defense that forces turnovers or the Bears defense that allows these long, lengthy drives? In the previous two matchups, these two teams split that, right? The Packers won the first one 28-21, and then the Bears won the second one 22-16. That was the onside kick game on a Saturday night before in Chicago, where some luck went the Bears' way. Absolutely. Another interesting tidbit, this is only the third ever playoff game between these two teams. Both of the previous two playoff games as well happening in Chicago. Just I thought that was interesting. Two teams that have been in the NFL forever only squared off two other times in the playoffs. Let's talk about the Packers' path to victory. I think the first thing that they have to do is run the ball and run the ball with a healthy and rested Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is going to be a really key X factor for the Packers in this game because, one, he's their ability to sustain time of possession, sustain drives, keep Caleb Williams on the bench, keep Ben Johnson's offense on the bench. That's going to be huge, but they have to have a two-dimensional offense to win this game. The Bears do allow 134 rushing yards per game, so ultimately you should be able to ground and pound with Jacobs in this game. Jordan Love, I'm looking for him to be more of a game manager than a game changer in this game, as Cam Newton would say. I just want Jordan Love to play within the offense. I think if you let Josh Jacobs be the engine and Jordan Love be more of a distributor, that's kind of the offensive best path to success for the Packers. Got to get Christian Watson some one-on-one shots. That's what really led them to success in that first game. Get back to that if you can get some single coverage on Christian Watson and just try and keep the Bears offense on the bench as much as possible, really. The Bears' path to victory. For starters, they led the NFL in turnovers this year. Jordan Love has been known to throw some interceptions in big spots. If they can win the turnover differential, which they have for a lot of this year, that is a massive step in the right direction for them to win this game. I also think the Bears got to run the ball. Ever since Micah Parsons has been hurt, the Packers are giving up like 200 rushing yards a game. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of that's coming on the back of a Ravens game in which Derrick Henry did Derrick Henry things. But I also think that the Bears rushing attack is one of the best in football. And it's possible between DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai that this team runs the ball down the Packers' throat. And you just get Caleb to be really special 2 to 4 times in this game. Throws on the run. You know, that touchdown pass that he had to DJ Moore in overtime of the first game. Take a couple deep shots. Do you get Rome Odunze back? Luther Burden's been a weapon. Colson Loveland's really been emerging. There's a lot that the Bears have offensively to take shots a few times in this football game to win. My ultimate prediction may surprise you. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers to win 24-23. I'm pretty 50-50 on this game, if I'm being completely honest. I do think it could go either way, but I had to make a prediction here, and there were two things that I really leaned on in this game. One, the defense. You know what they say, defense wins championships, and I think defense really matters in these playoff level games. The Green Bay Packers defense, even without Micah Parsons, I think is a better group all around than Chicago. I think Chicago massively benefits from turnovers, whereas I think Green Bay and Jeff Hafley are a really strong unit. You know, one of the best units in football with Micah, but I still think it's a good group without Micah. And number two is experience, right? This is the first time that Ben Johnson has head coached a playoff game. This is the first time that Caleb Williams has played a playoff game. This is the third year in a row that Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur have been in the playoffs. And not only that, been a 7 seed. They're used to being on the road. They're used to being in this spot. Combine that with Josh Jacobs after some rest. I think he can get 100 yards and a touchdown. And I have the Packers just barely squeaking by in Chicago, 24-23. The Buffalo Bills travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars, who are home dogs. Buffalo is favored by 1.5 points in this game. When you look at these two teams throughout the regular season, this looks like one of the best games on paper of the weekend. The Bills were the 4th ranked offense in terms of yards per game this year, where the Jaguars were 10th. The Buffalo Bills averaged 28.3 points per game, where the Jaguars averaged 27.9. The Buffalo Bills were the 7th ranked defense in terms of yards allowed, the Jaguars 11th. This looks like a really fun game. They didn't play each other this year. I actually think that we could be in for a shootout style game where both of these quarterbacks are slinging the rock. We could see two teams in the 30s here. Interesting fact that I'm bringing to the table for this game, Josh Allen has never won a road playoff game in his NFL career. He has an 0-4 record. Now, To be fair, most of those games took place at Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs, but it's still something to note. What is the Buffalo Bills' path to victory? I think the first thing that I have written down here is Josh Allen's got to be Superman. And I think that that's fair to talk about for the Buffalo Bills for the entire playoffs, not just for this game against the Jags, but every time the Bills advance, each game they're going to need Josh Allen to be the best quarterback in the game and potentially the best quarterback in the world. And it's possible that Josh Allen is that, by the way. Josh Allen's certainly a top 2 to 3 quarterback in the game, and he can go Superman. As well, what's going to give here in terms of this Buffalo Bills rushing attack versus the Jacksonville Jaguars rushing defense? The Bills have to be able to run the ball. They need their offense to be two-dimensional, not only to keep Jacksonville on the sidelines, but to keep up with Jacksonville points-wise. Jacksonville has been outstanding since week 10 offensively. The Bills have the first-ranked rush offense in football. The Jags have the best-ranked rush defense in football. The Bills average 159 rushing yards per game. The Jags only give up 85 rushing yards per game. Something has to give on that spot, and if Buffalo's to win this game, they need to let James cook, and they need Josh Allen to do what he does. And who's going to step up in that receiving game? It's got to be somebody. Kincaid, Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakur. Somebody has to be a trusted weapon for Josh Allen. For the Jacksonville Jaguars' path to victory, number one, establish the run and screens early. Where can you kill Buffalo? Running the football on them. The Bills have the 28th ranked run defense in football this year. So lean on Travis Etienne, lean on Bashaw Tutin, have some dump off screen passes ready to go. They are not good at getting to running backs and tackling running backs. You have to be able to take advantage of that if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number two, Trevor Lawrence has to keep the ball secure. He absolutely has to. We can't see turnover Trevor in this game. We need to see the Trevor Lawrence that we've seen for the second half of the year and the guy who's probably going to finish third in MVP votes. Win in the run game defensively. We talked about that already. Just can the Bills run the ball on Jacksonville? Jacksonville needs that to be a no. And can they force turnovers? The Jags were second in the NFL with 31 turnovers this year. If you can buy extra possessions and force Josh Allen into mistakes, you have a pretty good shot of winning this game. My prediction, the Buffalo Bills win 34-30. And maybe this is caveman, I watch football mentality, but I'm just not picking Trevor Lawrence over Josh Allen in a playoff game. I'm sorry, I'm not. If I see it, I'll believe it. But until then, I'm rocking out with Josh Allen, the reigning MVP of the league, a guy who's a top 3 quarterback in football. I think that the Bills' top-tier pass defense steps up, and I think some of those veterans that they have on that defense rise to the occasion. Again, I bring up experience. This is Liam Cohen's first game as a playoff head coach. Trevor Lawrence, he only has one playoff run previously. In the game that he won, he had 4 interceptions in that game. It's not like it was a great win for him. Whereas Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, they are in the playoffs regularly. Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, like guys on this defense have been in bigger spots than this. I think that they step up. I think they get pressure on T-Law. Joey Bosa maybe gets a sack in this game. And Buffalo advances, winning 34-30. The San Francisco 49ers, the 6th seed, travel to Philadelphia to take on the 3 seed Eagles. The Eagles are 4.5 point favorites as I'm recording this video. These two teams are pretty inverse of each other here stats-wise. The 49ers have the 7th ranked offense in football, but the 25th ranked defense. The Eagles have the 23rd ranked offense, but the 8th ranked defense in terms of yards per game, points per game. The 49ers score 25.7. The Eagles score 22.3. The 49ers allow 21.8. The Eagles only allow 19.1. Really inverse stats here. You know, it's what's going to give on each side of the ball. Is the Eagles offense going to step up and be able to move the ball against a weaker 49ers defense? And is a strong 49ers offense able to control this game against a strong Eagles defense? We're going to see what really comes alive there. For the 49ers, their path to victory, I think it starts with Christian McCaffrey. He's been the engine of this team all season. We saw Brock Purdy have a pretty hot end to the season, but ultimately, I think the way that you beat the Eagles is through Christian McCaffrey if you're the 49ers. The Eagles' run defense is much weaker than their pass defense. Now, some of that comes with Jalen Carter missing a lot of time this year, and he will be back and healthy for this game. But there's a reason that Christian McCaffrey is viewed as a top 5 running back in football, an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think to win this game, he needs to have 25 to 30 touches for the 49ers, and they should have no problem trying to get him the ball that amount of time. Christian McCaffrey is obviously a problem. And I think defensively, the 49ers, one, have to hope that Philly continues to beat themselves as they have all year. Schematically, they haven't been great. There's a lot of Eagles fans calling for Kevin Patullo to be out of there. I understand why. I'm one of them. And if you could force some turnovers, there's been a couple games this year where Jalen Hurts has thrown a ton of interceptions. If you can make this one of those games, the 49ers will certainly win. The Eagles' path to victory. I think you have to establish the run with guys like Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby, right? That's what we just saw Seattle do against this 49ers team. You can control the clock and run the ball if you have a strong run game. The Eagles getting Lane Johnson back and having arrested Saquon Barkley should look to follow what Seattle gave you as well. I think their corners are pretty weak right now in San Francisco. It was kind of a weakness of the team going into the year, and they've only gotten more banged up. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. These are Pro Bowl level wide receivers. Let them win one-on-one. 49ers are going to start blitzing you eventually. Hopefully you're ready for that and have some underneath stuff to some of these playmakers. And then, like I just mentioned, the number one thing for San Francisco to win this game is to let CMC cook. For the Eagles, contain CMC and you probably win the game. Again, we just saw Seattle give the blueprint for how to beat this team if you have the talent to do so. Philly defensively, I don't think there's a doubt, has the talent to ruffle the 49ers up in a similar way to what the Seattle Seahawks did. Now, obviously, the 49ers are without Trent Williams and without Ricky Pearsall. Will they be back in this game? We'll see, but that would be my essential kind of path to victory there. My prediction, the Eagles win 27-17. I think, one, the home field advantage really does matter for Philly. Jalen Hurts in his NFL career has never lost a home playoff game. That's a fact. West Coast to East Coast and in the cold weather after that tough Seattle game, not great for San Francisco. I think the Eagles will be able to get pressure with 4, similar to what Seattle was able to do with guys like Jalen Phillips, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalix Hunt. The Eagles got enough bodies on that D-line, and Vic Fangio is going to scheme up the right plays at the right time. And that 49ers defense is kind of duct taped together right now. I know that I don't really believe in the Eagles offensive scheme, but talent-wise, you look at the Eagles offense and you look at the 49ers defense, and I would just imagine that Philly is able to put up more points on those group of guys than San Francisco is able to put up on Philly in Philly. Give me a Birds win 27-17. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Sunday night football. The Chargers take on the New England Patriots. Patriots are favored by 3.5 points. The Chargers come in with the 12th ranked offense in terms of yards per game. The Patriots, the 3rd ranked offense. The Chargers, 5th ranked defense. Patriots, 8th ranked defense. 21.6 points per game scored for the Chargers to 28.8 for the New England Patriots. This is the best quarterback battle of round 1. So I'm happy it got to Sunday night. Justin Herbert versus Drake May. 2 similar quarterbacks, right? Great size, great arm talent, and some real mobility there. When I look at the Chargers and path to victory, one, I think that the Patriots are actually a pretty good draw for them in round 1. When you think about the Chargers' main weakness, it's obviously their offensive line. The Patriots were 26 in the NFL in terms of getting sacks this year, so Justin Herbert should have time. And with that time, Justin Herbert has to be amazing. He has to be a dog in this football game. There's just no other way around it. And Justin Herbert, I love Herbert. I'm a big Herbert guy, Oregon fan. I believe in him. But it is to be noted, he's had some playoff struggles. Can we see Justin Herbert overcome that in this game? And to help him do that, can they establish a run game? New England has the 6th ranked run defense in football and is only getting healthier with guys like Barmore and Milton Williams back. Omari and Hampton, Kamani Badal. Can they run the ball? Can they be a 2-dimensional offense, or will everything be put on the weight of Justin Herbert? I think if the Chargers are to win this game, they have to get some real production out of their running backs. I also think Keenan Allen will be a big difference maker in this game on 3rd downs, keeping drives alive. He has to be consistent, Keenan, and those hands have to be there. I also think their defense has to win on 3rd downs. I think this very well could be a game that comes down to who converted more 3rd downs, Justin Herbert and the Chargers or Drake May and the Patriots. Whoever the answer to that question is might be the winner of the football game. Flip side to the Patriots, I think they got to stay hot with their 2-dimensional offense and take what the Chargers give. One, the Patriots have to be able to run the ball with Travion Henderson, with Ramondre Stevenson. This Chargers defense, they make you play underneath. You have to take what they give. Drake May can't be feeling the pressure of just being in a playoff game and try and force things. That's how you get in trouble versus this Chargers defense. Stay on schedule, keep pushing the ball where you can, Get the ball to your playmakers, Henderson, Henry, Stephon Diggs, and let them cook. And they got to win at the line of scrimmage, right? Similar to what we talked about with the Chargers, keeping Justin Herbert upright. I believe that the Patriots, it has to be on their mind to keep Drake May upright. You can't be affording negative plays against this Chargers defense. My prediction, this was a coin flip game. I'm going New England 28-27. Very, very close game. I do think home field plays just enough of a factor for me to go with the Patriots in this spot. Chargers going from West Coast to East Coast, playing in cold weather. Can they travel well to New England in this spot? New England's been used to the cold. The Chargers are not. As well, the Patriots have been just a little bit more consistent all year with that third-ranked offense, that eighth-ranked defense. They've been more efficient in the red zone. They're averaging more than a touchdown more than the Chargers in terms of points per game. Just those little things have me going with New England here. I do like the Chargers plus 3.5 in what I do think is a coin flip game, but I'm going to rock out with the Patriots and Drake May. We get to Monday Night Football as the Houston Texans travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Texans on the road are 3.5-point favorites. When I look at this game, the Texans have the 18th ranked offense in football, although Stroud did miss some time, fair to note. The Steelers have the 24th ranked offense, 23.8 points per game for the Texans, 23.4 for the Steelers, so pretty close offensively on the season, these two teams. Major difference. The Texans have the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL in terms of yards allowed per game, and they only allow 17.4 points per game, number 2 in the NFL. The Steelers have the 26th ranked defense in football. They have been letting teams move the ball on them. Despite the Steeler moniker and some good plays we've seen, teams have moved the ball on Pittsburgh. One key stat, maybe key, maybe just fun. Mike Tomlin has never lost at home on Monday Night Football. I know. He's been coaching the Steelers for what feels like my whole life. Never lost at home on Monday Night Football. This game, Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. Just something to note. The Texans, their path to victory. I got written in my notes here, defense. Keep on defensing. Because the Texans' defense has led them to 9 straight wins. They are the hottest team in the NFL going into the playoffs. The defense has been really, really strong for that. They have to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He's not super mobile, so I think they could sack him a ton in this game with their best edge rusher combination in football in Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. But I think guys like Jalen Petrie, Kalen Bullock, Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley Jr. could all play massive roles in this game. And another note that I have here is CJ Stroud. Hate those deep plays, man. The Ravens struck for 3 deep touchdowns on this Steelers team. I think the best part of CJ Stroud's game is his ability to hit those deep balls. So, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, somebody over the top, hit them for a big play. The Steelers' path to victory, a little bit more specific. I think Rodgers has to get the ball out quick and not get beat up. I'm talking about don't even take quarterback hits from these massive defensive ends. You got 2 running backs you could throw the ball to, some tight ends. Speaking of those tight ends, Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith, I think one of them has to have a big game. Where you could throw the ball to the Texans is their linebackers in coverage. At least that's kind of been the ideal spot to throw to. And can you force Stroud into a turnover or 2, man? I think TJ Watt or somebody on the Steelers defense has to make a play to get extra possessions for Pittsburgh for them to be in this game. Ultimately, I have this as the biggest blowout of round 1. I think the Texans go into Pittsburgh and dominate and win 30-13. I know Steelers fans probably don't like that. I just think this is a really bad matchup for Pittsburgh, man. A 42-year-old immobile quarterback versus that Texans defensive line. I mean, what's the over-under for sacks for their team? 5? Could Rodgers end up hurting that left wrist and left hand again in this game? It's certainly possible. We saw him get shaken up a little bit versus Baltimore. And again, their defense just doesn't stop teams, and they don't stop big plays. And that's kind of where the Houston Texans thrive offensively. It's not these long sustained drives. It's run a little bit to set up the play action and bomb it deep to Nico Collins. And I'm just not sold that the Steelers can defend that. I think Houston's going to roll on Monday night. Moving into my divisional round predictions, we're going to get a little bit quicker here, and I'm going to put the scores up and just kind of tell you exactly where I'm feeling for each of these games. Bills versus Broncos, I'm going to rock with the Bills on the road to win 23-17. At the, I think neither team's run game really gets going strongly in this game. And then it's Josh Allen versus Bo Nix. And I'm going to rock with Josh Allen, man. I know that it feels maybe a little bit haterish. The 1-seed Broncos, they get eliminated, but I'm sticking with my guns. I'm rolling with Superman Josh Allen. Again, I think that The Broncos defense can eliminate the Bills run game in this spot, and I don't think that the Broncos run game is strong enough to take advantage of the Bills rush defense in this spot, not without J.K. Dobbins. So then it becomes do I trust Josh Allen versus the Broncos or Bo Nix versus the Bills pass defense more? And 10 times out of 10, I'm going to roll with Josh Allen in that spot. Texans versus Patriots. I have the Patriots and Drake May squeaking out a 20-16 victory. To me, these are the two best teams in the AFC squaring off. I'm going to rock with the team that's been more consistent all year, has the home field advantage, and I think has a much stronger two-dimensional offense. Again, not a lot of teams in this NFL playoff field do I feel confident about them both running and passing the ball, but New England has that. I think that the Patriots defense as well, their rush defense is going to kind of just eliminate the Texans rushing attack, and then it's going to be all on CJ Stroud. You have Christian Gonzalez to guard Nico Collins, and there's going to be a couple drives where the Texans are held to field goals in which the Patriots ended up getting touchdowns, and they win a very close game, 20-16. Over to the NFC, we have the 1 seed Seahawks playing host to the 7 seed Packers. I have the Seahawks pretty handily winning this game, 28-14. It's a game that I think maybe could have been closer if Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft were healthy, but without a real reliable number one weapon in that passing game, I just don't think that they have what it takes to beat Seattle, especially in Seattle. I think that Darnold and the running attack, again, they have a two-dimensional offense. Not a lot of teams have that. I don't think the Packers will be able to throw the ball at all on the Seahawks defense. It's going to be really dependent on Josh Jacobs, but similar to what we saw Seattle do to San Francisco, if they're focusing in on one guy, I think that defense just dominates. So give me Seahawks 28-14. In a rematch of last year's divisional round, I have the Rams getting the best of the Eagles this time, winning 27-20. The Eagles offense just hasn't been consistent enough all year for me to believe that they are going to keep pace with the Los Angeles Rams. Even though I do think Philly has a better defense, I think the Rams still have a top 12-ish defense in football, which is good enough to slow down an Eagles offense that doesn't have a real true identity this season. They're not particularly great at anything, where the Rams are the best offense in football. So give me Matt Stafford with Puka, Devontae Adams, Kyron, McVay calling plays to make enough plays in Philly on the road to get the 27-20 victory this time. We go into conference championship weekend, Bills versus Patriots, game 3 of what would be a fantastic set this year. I got the Pats winning 30-27. I felt like the Pats played better throughout this season series this year. Two defenses that have stepped up against each other, two high-level quarterbacks, but I trust what the Pats offense can do versus the Bills more than I do what the Bills offense can do versus the Pats. Again, the weakness of this Bills team is their rush defense, and I think that the Patriots are the first team that they play that really takes strong advantage of it throughout the entire game, with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. And Drake May is the first quarterback that I feel is at Josh Allen's level that he'll be facing. So give me the more consistent, more complete team in New England to head to the Super Bowl. We got Rams versus Seahawks with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. Another game 3, 2 sets of division rivals in the conference championship. Doesn't get much better than that. I have the Rams winning this one 31-23. Seattle, I think you could argue, is a more complete team, but Stafford isn't a tier above Sam Darnold. It gave me a headache to think about. I leaned on experience. This is Mike McDonald's biggest game of his career. This is Sam Darnold's biggest game of his career. Matt Stafford and Sean McVay have won a Super Bowl together. JSN's nice, but Puka and Devontae Adams a little bit more firepower in that passing game, to move the ball against the Seattle Seahawks defense, which is great. But in both, the second game that they lost the Rams, they moved the ball for over 500 yards on Seattle's defense. So I don't have any doubt that the Rams offense will show up. I don't think Darnold keeps pace with Stafford. Give me the Rams to go to the bowl 31-23. And in the Super Bowl, I have the 2 MVP candidates squaring off, Patriots, Rams. Give me the Rams to win 34-28. I think the Rams offensive firepower is just greater than what the Patriots bring to the table. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum kind of evens out with Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. But when you compare the receiving rooms, Puka, Devontae Adams, all those tight ends versus Stephon Diggs, Booty, and Hunter Henry, I got to rock with the weapons that are there in Los Angeles as well. It's, again, a spot that Drake May has never played at before. Matt Stafford's been to and won a Super Bowl before. I'm going to rock it out with the Rams winning this year's Super Bowl. So my official playoff predictions are here. I have to be honest, it's the least confident I have felt doing predictions in a long time. I don't think there's a single team that's guaranteed to make the conference championship this year, whereas in previous years, I felt like we could pencil in the Chiefs. Last year, I felt very confident about penning in, the Eagles. The Bills are a team that we've been super confident in the past. And this year, there's just a lot of parity. If I told you that the AFC championship was a rematch of, Jags versus Broncos, could happen. If I told you that the NFC championship was, the Eagles versus the Seahawks, could happen. If I told you it was Bears versus Rams, you'd be like, yeah, that could happen. Like, I just don't think that there's a single team on either conference that's locked into at least the conference championship, which makes things very, very interesting. As always, these are just my predictions. Be sure to leave yours in the comment section of this video. If you made it this far, the like button, best free way to support the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.